Next is usage and rate terminology. Rate, the agreed payment for the job. This is including but not limited to the payment for the hours worked, trade, usage, buyouts, commission, per diem, or reimbursement for nails, tan, gas, maybe parking. The list goes on. The day rate, that is your rate for the day. Typically an 8-hour shoot day with a 1-hour lunch, so 9 hours on set. Trade, this is when a client gives you services or products instead of your rate or in addition to your rate. Sometimes the custom or rare samples, so it can be really awesome to get trade sometimes. Sample is a version of a product before mass production. So sometimes they give you the sample as trade and then they never choose to make it publicly. And so you're the only one in the world who has it because it never got made for mass consumption. Commission, the amount the agency manager or app charges you for coordinating the booking. Typically, this is 20% from agencies. It can be 10% for managers and apps and mother agents. Some apps charge commission. Some charge per the submission that you send. Some are free. Everything in the modeling industry is a case-by-case basis. Per diem, a set amount of money to cover your daily expenses. This could be for things like lunch at an in-town shoot or for your meals while traveling to a job out of town. So if you're doing a job in town and they give you a per diem of like $15 for lunch, that means that you have a walk-away lunch and you're going to go purchase lunch on your own and they're going to reimburse you for up to $15. You get 15 per diem. If you're going out of town, that number would be higher to include your lunch and your dinner or even your breakfast. Whatever meal that the client is not providing to you on set would be usually covered in that per diem. But everything is a case-by-case basis. Expenses, also known as reimbursements. This is anything the client has agreed to pay you back for. Things like tanning or a manicure or gas or parking or a specific shoe or dress could all be potential expenses. Expenses are only allowed when the client has agreed beforehand and typically includes a price cap and must include a receipt. You would either give that receipt directly to the client at the job, or sometimes you are sending that receipt in a picture email to your agent who will then forward it to the client. Travel. This refers to gas or flight and hotel. So it can include things like taxis to and from the airport in the city of the job. It's different for each and every booking. If you live in Los Angeles and the job is in Newport Beach, sometimes there will be about a $35 travel fee or gas fee. If you're going to San Diego, sometimes it'll be as much as $200 gas fee. If you are going out of town, they will pay for the flight and hotel. They will reserve it and it will go on your model account. Voucher. This is a contract that basically says you showed up, you did your job, and you should be paid for this many hours and any add-ons or overtime. Your agency will give you a book of vouchers if they use them. Not all agencies use vouchers. In some states, emails are enough in a court of law, so they don't feel that they need to have these vouchers. If you have vouchers, it has 3 carbon copies. So you get a white one, a pink one, and a yellow one. And when you write on the white one, it goes through them all. You keep one. One is for the client and one is for the agency. You want to keep track of these and keep them like a little book. And at the end of the month and at the end of the year, you have a little book of all the jobs you did and how much money you are owed. And you can go check that with your agency's model account and make sure that everything is showing up. Because sometimes, I'm not saying the agencies are trying to lie, they just get super busy and sometimes they forget to enter things correctly or they enter it under the wrong model or the wrong payment. And so this way you're able to track that stuff before it's too late to fix it or go back. This is my current voucher from my agency. You see it's got the agency name and the information. On the top left, that box is all the information about the client. On the right side, you see where it's got job date, the model's name, the rate, overtime rate, travel time, airfare, miscellaneous. So you've got all these extra boxes. So if you were running out of vouchers, you could even decide to use all those boxes as different days and use the same voucher for multiple days if you're working with a client. Sometimes your agency allows that to save vouchers so you don't run out. Then at the bottom, you see it says model release. And this is where you're going to fill in all those little blanks. Every single agency has a different release at the bottom of their voucher, but it basically says that you showed up, you did your job, and this is how much you should get paid. You sign it, and you get somebody from the client who is somehow like important enough that they're allowed to sign it, and get them to sign it. And then you either take a picture and send it to your agency through email, or you go in and hand it to them. Invoice. This is an official document requesting payment from the client. It'll typically include things like the date, the rate, and the client information. If you are representing yourself, I have included a template that you can download, or there's many that you can Google and you want to send invoices. There's also apps that you can use. And if you are modeling through modeling apps, they will send the invoice to the client on your behalf. And if you have representation, they will send the invoice on your behalf. Usage. This refers to where the images and videos from the booking will end up and for how long. All media. So in usage, it may say all media. That means everything from magazines to newsletters to the internet, ads, TV, film, billboards, and whatever else that you can put an image or a video on. Social media, that would be all media. A buyout. This is a one-time payment with permission to use the photos or footage for a set amount of time. Typically, it'll be like a year buyout. And then if they want to renew for another year, they would have to pay you again. Residuals. This is reoccurring payment based on re-aired or reprinted footage. Typically, this is when we're talking about television and when you're doing union television and it airs again or in another country, then you would get residuals. Perpetuity. This means forever and ever and ever. No end to the usage. This used to be a red flag every single time, but now it's more of a case-by-case basis. So because perpetuity means forever, we normally don't like that in modeling. We want you to hire new models or come back and rehire us and reshoot in the new stuff. We don't want you to use the same photo over and over and over again unless there's a buyout. But we don't normally like the word perpetuity. But now it's getting snuck into more contracts because social media and these companies feel that the contract means that they would have to go backwards in their social media and delete their post, which is not good for the algorithm. It's not good for customer understanding and for the customer to be able to see the products and to be able to trust the company. It really hurts them in that aspect. And it takes time and costs money to hire somebody to do that and remember what dates you have to delete what. And so they don't want to do it. And so they've convinced a lot of agents to now allow the words perpetuity to be in those specific contracts. And it gives them a lot of power that we hope they are not going to use in a bad way and that they truly are just using this to not have to delete old posts. Exclusive. When you agree not to model for certain competing brands in the same market or direct competition with the client. So Pepsi could say, we want an exclusive where you do not work for any soda companies for the next year. And they would have to pay you a lot of money for that to be worth it to you. Pepsi could also say more specifically, we don't want you to work for Coca-Cola. We don't care if you work for any other brands, just not Coca-Cola. So you again would still want them to pay you a lot of money, but not necessarily as much as when they're banning you from working with all sodas for the year. And this can go like for everything, and it can be very detailed or a little more vague, like the soda version. Conflicts. Competition for the brand holding the casting. This could be direct or market. So Macy's and Kohl's are direct. Macy's and Ross are market. Macy's and Apple are not a conflict. Even though Macy's may sell an iPhone, or they may sell iPhone cases or even a charger. They're not in competition or conflict with Apple. If you did an ad for Macy's, they're never going to say, please don't work for Apple. Market. This can be used in your rates, referring to what states or countries an ad will be displayed or aired. And in your agency, it refers to the city that you're modeling in. Local hire. A model that lives in the area of the booking or can find their own accommodations and will not be provided or paid for or reimbursed by the client. There are union rules. If you are in the SAG-AFTRA union and we're dealing with a job like that, local hire means something different according to the union, and you must not travel on your own, even if you volunteer. But most of you will not be in the union or dealing with that. So, in terms of local hire for you, that would mean that you are willing to get yourself to that city without being compensated for gas or having a hotel provided or anything like that. A chargeback. This is when you flake on a confirmed booking or job and the client charges you and the agency for the inconvenience. So make sure you are showing up to the things you have agreed to show up to. As always, if you feel I have missed anything in usage and rates terminology, please comment below. And if you feel that this is helping you and it's making a difference, I would love to hear about it in email, or you can share your wins publicly on social media using the hashtag Modelesque Mindset. And if you would like to book a virtual one-on-one with me, the link is provided below.